No one remembered exactly when Earth fell silent. One moment we were screaming, protesting, begging the stars for mercy, and the next, the transmissions stopped. The alien empires shrugged it off like a minor inconvenience, a spark snuffed out in the void. After all, Earth was a backwater, a primitive world they had barely bothered to catalog. We weren't a threat. We weren't even interesting. In the grand councils of the stars, we were written off as a failure of natural selection. They didn't realize that silence wasn't surrender. Silence was strategy. It had started decades earlier. When the first ships of the Andari Syndicate cracked through Earth's atmosphere, they expected a people too weak to resist. They hit us hard, blasted cities into dust, enslaved millions, and stripped our oceans for their precious minerals. The survivors were herded into camps or left to rot in the ruins. The aliens thought that was the end of the story. But humans have a peculiar flaw. We don't break easily. Hidden deep underground, under mountains and ocean floors, in crumbling subway tunnels and forgotten bunkers, humanity built. We salvaged tech from the wrecks the Andari left behind. We dissected their machines, figured out their language, understood their weapons. We copied what we could, innovated what we couldn't, and quietly stitched it all together into something new, something terrifying. The galaxy moved on, forgetting us. The Andari fleet moved on to bigger targets, richer worlds. Only a skeletal force remained in orbit. A token garrison meant more to satisfy political requirements than anything else. Their arrogance insulated us. It gave us time. It gave us purpose. When the first of the dreadnoughts broke free of the Greenland ice, it sent no warning, no proud broadcast, no declaration of independence. It rose from the ice like a leviathan, dark and silent, plates of alien alloy stitched together with human stubbornness. The garrison didn't even notice it until it was too late. When the dreadnought's guns woke, they sang a song the stars hadn't heard in millennia. Pure, unfiltered rage. The orbital stations disintegrated under withering barrages of kinetic rounds and plasma lances. Their sleek Andari design crumpled like tin under the dreadnought's fury. Their calls for backup were intercepted, jammed, silenced just as easily. Earth wasn't just surviving anymore. We were hunting. I remember standing on the cracked concrete of New Boston, watching the burning debris rain down from the sky. People cheered, their fists raised, tears cutting paths through the grime on their faces. It wasn't just vengeance, it was something deeper. A primal surge of hope, something we hadn't dared feel for generations. The first dreadnought was called Vengeance. A name chosen not by some commander or general, we didn't have those anymore, but by a mechanic who had welded the last piece of its hull together. A name whispered in bunkers, painted in blood-red letters across its armored flanks. We didn't stop with one. Within weeks, 2 more rose from the jungles of the Amazon, stitched together by tribes who had once been thought lost to the world. Another clawed its way out of the crumbled ruins of old Shanghai. The dreadnoughts weren't clean, polished, or pretty. They were brutal, they were monstrous, and they were ours. When the Andari realized what was happening, they panicked. They sent a distress signal out to the wider galaxy. They begged for reinforcements. But by the time the response fleets were marshaled, Earth was already bristling with steel and fury. The galaxy thought Earth was defenseless. They were wrong. We had been silent because we were preparing to scream. The message that Earth had risen spread through the stars like wildfire. At first, no one believed it. How could a broken, conquered world, a primitive species, strike back? The Council of Nine, the self-proclaimed arbiters of galactic order, dismissed the early reports as isolated insurgencies. Some local governors even laughed about it. They called us a minor annoyance, a feral infestation. They weren't laughing when Vengeance and her sisters, Defiance, Wrath, and Ashbourne, punched through the Andari main fleet like a fist through glass. They came expecting a mop-up operation. Neatly coordinated formations of sleek cruisers, carriers the size of cities, even a few dreadnoughts of their own. Real ones, built with centuries of alien engineering. They thought numbers and technology would win the day. But humans, we didn't fight fair. We fought like animals with nothing left to lose. The battle over Earth wasn't a grand dance of strategy and honor like the Andari were used to. It was brutal. It was messy. We unleashed everything we had. Hacked alien missiles, magnetic railguns firing chunks of urban scrap, jury-rigged plasma torpedoes so unstable they sometimes exploded before even leaving the launch bay. It didn't matter. The dreadnoughts were designed to take punishment no sane engineer would expect anything to survive. Defiance took a full barrage to her bow and kept charging forward, engines bleeding plasma, guns still spitting death. Wrath lost half her armor plating early in the fight, but used her exposed reactor core like a battering ram, slamming into an Andari command ship and tearing it in two. And from the ground, from the shattered cities and deep hidden fortresses, we launched wave after wave of attacks. Old ICBMs we had refitted with alien tech, hybrid fighters stitched together from F-22 relics and stolen anti-grav drives, even orbital jump troopers in crude suits patched together with desperation and genius. We didn't ask for surrender. We didn't give warnings. The Andari screamed for retreat. It wasn't a battle. It was an execution. And when it was over, when the last Andari carrier burned up in Earth's atmosphere, raining molten wreckage over the Pacific, the survivors of humanity stood in the ruins, bruised, bloodied, and victorious. We had made our statement. Earth was not a slave world, not a forgotten colony, not a footnote. We were the storm. But we knew the galaxy wouldn't just sit back and let it go. The Council of Nine wasn't just going to pretend that